Okay, I'm going to walk you through making one of the easy zipper cases from my pattern. I'm doing the size small, so I've cut 2 exterior fabrics, 2 linings. I've got 2 pieces of Pellon 809 Deco Bond and 2 pieces of Pellon SF 101 interfacing, 2 zipper tabs, and a zipper that I'm going to trim to size later. First thing I'm going to do is fuse the SF101 to the wrong side of the exterior fabrics. I'm going to take this to my pressing board and fuse it. And then right on top of that, once that's fused and ready, I'm going to fuse the Deco Bond interfacing also right on top. And then they're ready to sew. So I'll be right back.
This SF101 on first. And then the shiny part of the Deco Bond down. And I'm just going to trim that up to be perfect.
Next, I'm going to prep the zipper tabs, folding in the short ends to meet in the middle and pressing, and then fold over again. It kind of makes a little piece of binding, and this gives a really professional look to that zipper. Okay, I'm ready to prep my zipper. The zipper should be 1 inch smaller than the width of your case. So I'm making this small, and this is 8 inches wide. So my zipper has to be 7 inches wide, no more than. Sometimes I'll even cut it to 6.75 inches, just to give me extra wiggle room. So right away, I'm just gonna cut off that metal end, and then I'm going to measure over. Here's 7. Make sure you pull your zipper head down so you're not cutting that off. There's the 7. I'm going to go right under 7. Trim that off. And now my zipper is ready for the zipper tabs. Put that zipper end in to meet the fold. Press that over, and we're going to sew right along the edge. We do that for both sides. Okay, so I've sewed on my zipper tab ends, and now I'm just going to trim them flush with the zipper to be the same width. There we go. And now we're ready for construction. So take one of the exterior body pieces and lay the zipper right side down against that fabric and center it. It seems like a lot of space on the end, but that's exactly what you want. I'm going to grab my clips and hold it in place. You can use pins, whatever you've got. I just have my clips handy here. And I'm going to sew right down the edge. There's a little tiny faint line on this zipper here. If you can sew right on that line, it's a little bit off of the center mark, that'd be great. That's a great guide to sew on. So I'm going to go put on my zipper foot and get going. So I'm going to take off my regular foot here and put on my zipper foot, which for me is a skinnier looking foot. Yours might look different. Just go ahead and Google it if you're not sure which one is your zipper foot. And then I'm placing this in here. I've got to move my needle over. I don't want that needle to hit my plate. I'm clear. And I'm gonna start at the very end and sew. I like to back stitch here to hold it in place. Now, a lot of times you will need to move that zipper head out of the way so that you don't get a wave as you're sewing. There's that. And it's on. Now don't do anything. We're going to grab our lining and lay it right on top. Don't try to flip this up yet. It's not time yet. Just hold tight. Okay, we just sewed the zipper on, and now I'm placing the lining right sides down. So your right side is facing the right side of the exterior. And I'm going to clip this in place, and I'm going to sew right on top of that stitching I just did. So I'll just clip it here, and then I'll take, I'm sewing right on top of that line. Come in a little closer over here on the top, right on that line. Now I can feel there's that zipper head, so I'm going to put my needle down, lift my foot up, and move that zipper out of the way. Foot back down. Okay. And now it's on. Okay, so it's sewed on. Now I'm going to press that lining away. Make sure you're pressing it away from that zipper so that no fabric gets caught in those zipper teeth. Okay, now I'm just finger pressing it here. You can take it to the ironing board if you like. Moving on. I think this is probably right side up. I'm going to place this right sides together, centering, matching the sides as best I can, using some clips to hold it in place. I'm going to repeat that same process, sewing right down the line. So again, the fabrics, the outside fabrics are right sides together. The top is flush. Okay? So I'm sewing down the edge. About a 1/4 inch seam allowance or so. Again, there's that line as a guide. Here I come close to that zipper head. I'm going to move it so I don't get a wave. Oh, what's going on here? There we go. And then I lift my foot when I come to that zipper tab too, so that it doesn't curl back. Okay, so that side is on. Don't try to flip anything. We're going to lay the lining right on top. The lining, I know I'm using solids. I didn't think about that. That's kind of hard to tell, but this is the right side of the lining, and I'm putting the right side of the lining down on top. Right sides together, always right sides together. I'm going to put my clips in place here, flip it over, and stitch right on top of that line again. See, we're getting close. Now you will have, let's bring it over here. Finger press that away from the zipper. And at this point, after I've checked and make sure, take it to the ironing board, press these flat, press them away from the zipper teeth a little bit to make sure you're not going to top stitch that fabric into the zipper. Then what I like to do is top stitch down each side at 1/8 to 1/4 inch, whatever you like. That just holds the fabric in place for the next steps when we put the bag together. I just left my zipper foot on. You can change to a top stitching foot if you like. It's personal preference. I've made so many that at this point I just leave the zipper foot on for this part. Now, the most important part of the whole construction, open your zipper. Open the zipper, open the zipper. Open the zipper. And then you're gonna take the exteriors with all the interfacing, all those layers, and pin them together. I do use a pin at this point because if this shifts, it can mess everything up. Pin your linings, right sides together. And the zipper tabs inside here, they push towards the lining when I have this right sides together. They will tend to push towards the lining, and that's what I find is easiest. Now, we're gonna sew down the sides all the way across the bottom of the exterior, and then a portion of the lining bottom, but not the whole thing.
So you can start here, sew over, down, all the way over, and up, and stop here. Leave an opening here for turning right sides out later.
Needle down, lift your foot, and pivot. I take just a slightly fatter seam allowance on the lining to ensure that my lining is really tight. And I'm going right over. I'm missing the zipper tab. I'm not sewing over that zipper tab. If you need to slightly jog around it and kind of fudge that seam allowance, do it. Don't sew over those zipper tabs. Needle down, lift foot, and pivot. Pivot. I'm not pushing or pulling, I'm just letting the fabric glide through. I'm gonna slightly take just a slight touch, angling inward for a tighter seam allowance. This is the lining, pivoting. Okay, and I'm gonna leave about 4 inches open here. Now we're gonna do the boxed corners. Okay, I'm marking a 1-inch box for the size small. It's 1.25 inch for the size medium and 1.5 inches for the size large. So just be sure that you check the size. I did a lot of experimenting and found that these corner sizes looked really good for each coordinating size. But on that note, feel free to experiment. And if you want to make them different, that's totally fine. So again, I'm marking from the outside edges, 1-inch box squares, and then I cut them. Okay, they're all cut. Pull apart the corners. Sometimes you may have to go back and lock stitch these two edges if they start pulling apart really crazily on you. Maybe not on this one. Okay, pulling it apart and matching the middle seams. That's the most important. Match those middle seams and nest the seams. So one seam allowance is going to the right and one will go to the left. And then I stick a pin there because that will want to shift apart. And I'm going to sew right along there, at least a couple of times. I like to lock stitch each end and then do a zigzag inside the seam allowance because this is the weakest part of the bag. This is the part that if somebody tries to put a 10-pound library book in here, it's gonna snap. There we go. And I'll do that to the lining as well. Nesting seams. Pull it apart, match the middle seam, nest the seams, put a pin, ready to sew. Okay, so the corners are sewn, lock stitched. They should be really strong. Now I'm going to turn it right side out. You may, I should mention this, you may need to trim those corners a little bit, especially if you've got some extra interfacing sitting there. Go ahead and trim those so that they don't give you a problem.
Okay, turning right sides out.
Thanks to Mia, my 10-year-old daughter, for helping me film this. It's really a job to do videotaping, harder than it sounds. I'll trim that. Never pull your threads. Trim with scissors. I'm pushing those corners out with my finger. And then for the top zipper tabs, sometimes you really have to work that and push them out so they're nice and pretty. It does take a little bit of work. Oh, it's looking cute already. Okay, I'm gonna tuck in the bottom of my lining and sew it closed, and then we'll do our pressing, and that's it. Down inside. This is a size small. It's so cute. I put my hand in there a lot of times. The small is too small for a ham. Sometimes for the large, I'll use a ham and stick it in there. But you know, this is so brief that I don't really have to worry too much. It's super cute. Now, if you want these to be super square, pinch that corner and just press it for a second. Do the same on the other side. Make sure your lining is in there too. I can feel it, it's thick. And then look how cute that is. Add a little, well, get all your threads off first. Add a little zipper charm and you're good. Okay, so Ruby's gonna demonstrate putting on the zipper charm. I just buy these at Michael's or Hobby Lobby using the 40% off coupon and put them on the ends of my zipper. Go ahead, Rubes.
Show us how it's done. Okay, so you pull this little thing. Open it. It's kind of hard to open because like it's so small. It's a tiny lobster clasp. Okay. And then once you've opened it, you put it through this thing and then close it with